wasn't at a live stream today, YouTube has literally deleted the two that I've done before this. One was 10 minutes and one was 20 minutes, and I'm very frustrated. So I'm trying to screen capture it on my laptop at home because it's still playing on my one screen, but somehow deleted itself all by itself. Anyway, I digress. Today I'm here to talk to you about being 4 days out from the Jahealing Self-Sufficiency, Gardening and Self-Sufficiency Workshop Series. So starting Saturday, July 17th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to start doing the Gardening and Self-Sufficiency Series again with me in 5 consecutive weekends. Now you can pre-register with them, no problem. You can go for one workshop, any one of them, or you can do the whole group of them. I believe you get a discount if you take all 5. It's open not just to the ladies, but to the gents as well as to couples, whoever wants to learn about gardening and self-sufficiency and permaculture. So I was in my garden today and showed you a lot of fun things. We talked about a lot of stuff. We had some really great interaction here on YouTube on the live stream. Unfortunately, it's gone. So I'm talking to you from my vehicle right now while I'm waiting for something. So, permaculture, if you haven't heard of permaculture, it's a way of growing a lot of food in a space, more food than you would otherwise. There is a top canopy layer. There's different layers to your garden. So there's big trees, medium trees, tall bushes. You have your tall size flowers and plants and your medium size annuals and things like that, tomatoes and peppers. And then you have a ground cover layer. You also have vines you can work with and a fungal layer. So I was showing you all those things in my garden today, but that's okay. So I have put a cattle panel in, actually. My neighbor helped me put a cattle panel in so I can use it as a trellis, and underneath it, for like the 8,000th time, I need to weed. So I'm going to put down cardboard, I'm going to put down straw, and I'm going to spore that with my edible mushroom spore. And that's going to help complete that fungal layer in that area, which I showed. I showed you some great fruit trees and things of that nature. We talked about medicinal plants and herbs and edibles. And I guess my philosophy, I'm not working for something in my yard that's not working for me. So I've taken out all the things that are not edible or medicinal, including the grass. It's about changing your expectations. Do you want to make enough food for you to be able to survive on and be more self-reliant and self-sufficient? Or for me, makes me nervous to have to rely upon the system, because this last year the system really failed us. COVID, standing in lines, not being able to get things available to you. You never know when you're going to find them, if you're going to find them, how long it's going to be till you find them. And that doesn't make me comfortable. I need to make sure that my family has the food and medicines they need when we need them, regardless of the system. So it makes me more comfortable to be able to grow all of our own food, etc. So I was talking about, again, the expectations. So if you want to have a well manicured lawn with 2 flower planters, hi there, thanks for tuning in, 2 flower planters at the front, and that makes you happy, then that's great, and I love that too. But that's not how gardening should go. We were talking about pests and herbicides and things like that, and I grow everything organically. I let them open pollinate. I save my seeds for subsequent years. I have heirloom varieties now because of that. And I have healthier crops. When you plant all one crop, say like in rows like you do in a farm or a very well manicured yard, you run the risk of having a pest come through and eating all of your one crop, because they're all right there. You have them all lined up like dinner plates. If you intermingle different plants among each other, not only does it deter pests and things of that nature, but it also provides you with healthier plants. You can plant in such a way that like, I know you've heard of companion planting, but you're taking it to a whole nother level. I plant potatoes, for instance, right? I was talking about this. So I plant potatoes, and I said potatoes need a lot of nitrogen. Why wouldn't I plant beans and legumes in between those things? Because they're nitrogen fixers, and they'll provide that nitrogen that the soil needs for those vegetables to produce. Now I'm growing underground and I'm growing some like shorter crops. Why don't I grow some nice taller crops in a permaculture kind of situation? So why don't we grow corn? So I grow corn in between them. Then I think, oh, well, I can use that corn as a trellis. And then you start planting squashes and things that vine like pole beans. And it's funny because I had already done that in my garden because I've put the pieces together. I've done my research and I kind of have been doing this a while. I actually read an article the other day, and it doesn't surprise me at all, about the indigenous people of our nations here in America and Canada. And when they would plant their crops, they didn't plant them in rows. They planted them intermingled. They would plant exactly what I just told you. Potatoes. They would plant beans in between them. And maybe they knew it was a nitrogen fixer. Or maybe they just knew that things grew better when they did that. Or maybe it kept the pests away at bay. But they grew the beans. And they also grew the corn. And then they grew squashes. And they grew pole beans up those tall corn. And that was a way for them to produce a lot of food in a very small space. So if you're trying to plant potatoes, you're supposed to do it every like 18 inches, something like that. Beans every foot. Corn every I think it's, 2 feet or something like that from each other, at least 2 feet, 2.5 feet. But when you do it in a permaculture situation, you can pack a lot more in there because you're dealing with the different levels, not just one level of garden. If you did all tomatoes, for instance, or all corn or all potatoes, now you have different layers that you can use the different levels of sunshine. So you're really maximizing your space, especially if you have a small space. Now, I don't live on a farm. I live in a neighborhood, a suburban neighborhood, and I call it my suburban homestead because I pretty much farm the entire property as best I can in a permaculture way. Hi, Pearly. Do you want to say hi? Say hello. I'm enjoying the rain.
Want Mary Poppins?
Oh, you want Mary Poppins? We can watch Mary Poppins in a bit. Okay? Yeah, we'll watch Mary Poppins soon. Anyway, that being said, there's so much to talk about gardening and permaculture and self-sufficiency. It makes me happy. I could talk about it all day. But my main point here was that we're 4 days out. Come learn with us. It's a really great situation on a Saturday morning to get some nice knowledge and hang out with some cool people. We have a really good time. Bring your questions, show off your garden, and we can learn together. Yeah? Obviously, I'm not the be-all and end-all of everything permaculture, but I have been doing it for a long time. I've done a lot of research, and I've been employing it for a long time. And I think it's a much more enjoyable and fulfilling way to garden. I am producing way more food. It makes my life easier. It makes me more confident and comfortable in that I have food being produced for my family. When you do permaculture, you want to concentrate on perennials, things that are going to come back every year. Either they're perennial situation where they come back from the rootstock, or like a tree or a bush, or there's something that's going to reseed themselves, like a flowering, the flowers, right? Or herbs that will reseed themselves. Something that makes your life easier. That's for me a mainstay of permaculture. Makes your life easier. It creates systems for you. Especially here in Canada, I'm in a zone 6. We were just bumped up from a 5B. Yes, climate change is real because how would our climate be changing and our whole hardiness zones be changing? I'm growing a lot of different things I was unable to before. And I'm pushing zones. I heavily mulch in the winter. I protect my special trees that might be breaking the border of those zones. And I put them in. Perennials are such a good idea. Oh my gosh. They make your life so much easier. Makes me mad though. When you buy perennials, I digress. Hold on. When you buy the perennials and you put them in the ground, you buy a whole bunch, you spend your money on them, and they don't come back. Oh, that drives me insane. It happens more often than not. So I've been doing my research and I've been ordering seeds, and seeds are a much less expensive option than purchasing whole plants that aren't going to come back. At least you can seed, and you're not so mad you spent $1 as opposed to maybe $16 or something like that for a nice healthy quart-sized perennial. Anyway, as for permaculture, yeah, the perennials are such a great idea. not just the perennials from the rootstock, but yes, things that'll reseed. And if you don't have things that are perennial, even biennials that'll come back. I've had chrysanthemums in my garden. They've come back. They're supposed to be biennial, but they've come back 4 years. This is the 4th year now they've come back. I have Brussels sprouts. I've been growing from the same stalks. I don't even know, 6, 7 years. Every year they come back. I have a lot of things that grow through the winter. Where it's a really cold winter here, and it's a long winter. I do have a greenhouse. I have a hoop house. I have another little, my gazebo. I put poly wrap over top the vapor barrier, and I'm able to grow some cold hardy stuff in there, root crops and greens. At least I can get some fresh stuff. But come spring here, for most people, you're chomping at the bit for some fresh stuff. And a lot of times the plants in your yard are actually edible or medicinal, and you just didn't even know it. So get one of those apps on your phone. I use an app called Leaf Snap, and it's pretty good. I can take a picture of something and say, what's that? And it'll tell me what it is, and then I can go do my research. Is that edible? Is that, is that usable? If not, it's gone. If it is, awesome. And now you know you have a really hardy plant that is acclimatized to your hardiness zone because it came out all by itself, and it probably will keep doing that. So I get a lot of drop-ins every year in my yard. I call them drop-ins because I don't know. The birds bring them, animals bring them, track them in. I don't know how they get there. The wind, the storms, who knows? But I do get a lot of interesting things that seed themselves in my yard, and a lot of times you just pull it because I didn't plant that, but you don't know if it's usable or edible. So I do some more oddball videos. Like I said, tune into some of my oddball videos. Chives grow really great, right? So you're in a 6B. Yeah, where are you located in Canada as well? Prep for it. Hi, prep for it. You can grow a lot more things than a lot of people in Canada. But I know a lot of people that were watching earlier, they were talking about the stuff in Florida and things like that. Wow, okay, they can grow a lot of stuff. Oh, Hamilton. Awesome, yeah. Very similar situation. We're at the very southern part here, right? We get tempered by Lake Ontario. You guys are kind of on the one side of the lake. We're like underneath. So we get that temperament of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. We're right in between there. So we're lucky here. But like just over the border in Buffalo, woo, they're a whole zone different. It's very cold. They get a lot of snowfall. They get a lot of blistering cold. But here, and the thing is too, you have microclimates. So in your region, you'll be a specific zone. But for instance, in Hamilton up on the mountain, you get different weather than they do down below. And even in your yard, you have microclimates, right? So my front yard is a lot less sheltered than my backyard, for instance, in some places. Where the prevailing winds are. I've got trees that protect that. So I tend to plant my things I'm a little iffy about on the zone right where they're very protected, and I seem to have some pretty good success. Again, do research on things that grow in our similar climatic zones all around the world. So I've done research on things that are in the same latitude as us, right? So in Europe and in Asia, all along that same zone, right? There are a lot of things that you probably have never even heard of, didn't even know existed, all kinds of cool berries and fruits and things like that. We're really stuck. You get stuck in that rut, and we're very sheltered here, unfortunately, in that way. There are so many other species of plants out there that we're not exposed to, that we don't have access to. So you can order seeds from a lot of different places. Try them in different places in your yard. See how they work out for you. I love doing that. I love my experiments. Every year I've got some experiments going, and some are great and some just kind of don't work the way I thought they would, and that's okay. It's all a learning experience. And on the Jahealing Club on Facebook, I know Janine, she posted that gardeners have the hope of tomorrow, because if you're sowing in the ground and you're doing all this work and you're weeding and you're prepping and you're planting, you have that hope of tomorrow to see that success, or next week or next month or next year. So there is definitely a positivity and a hope that comes about when you sow into the ground, and a lot of other healthful things about it. Yeah, so come join us on Saturday. I hope to see you guys. If not, join us on another workshop. Okay, in the next 5 weeks. No excuses. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, if you're not coming to all of them, you can come to one. You can peek in, see how it's going. We have a lot of fun. Okay, bring your questions, like I said, and we'll talk about permaculture and how to survive, what to grow, when to grow, how to grow, where to grow, all those great and interesting topics that maybe you want to learn more about. And it's really important, especially over the last year, our eyes have been opened as to how the system can fail, and not just fail, but fail quickly and fail miserably. So you've got to make sure you've got what you need and be a little more self-sufficient in that way. At least that's how I see it. Makes me feel better. All right, everybody, I'm Kimberly Turner, Cooking with Kimberly. Check me out online. Make sure you pre-register at Jahealing. You can go to the website. You can check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Message them, DM them, and get in on our workshop, okay? Join the clubs and things, all that's good stuff. All right, be a champion on your homestead or in the kitchen, wherever the heck you are today. And hopefully I can screen capture the last video and you can see that too. I'm so angry. I'm at home. I have it on pause on my screen. Somehow it's still showing on one screen and playing for me, but it's deleted in my account. Stinkers. YouTube does that to me all the time, and I don't know why. Anyway, talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Bye.